Hello, good evening, all of you. I am Maheshwar Satpathy. I also identify myself as a teacher, therefore, I am recording this message. Today is Indian Teachers' Day, therefore, I wish all the teachers in India a happy Teachers' Day. On this occasion, I wanted to make this video because I thought it's important to make this video to give a message to all the present students as well as teachers of India. We are in 2020. We have been through a lot in this pandemic over the last 6-7 months, literally destroying and ravaging the whole world, and we have suffered lots of losses, irrecoverable losses, which can never be recovered at all under any circumstances. Therefore, I would like to mention that our jobs have become difficult over a period of time, and we are all adapting. We are trying to learn new technologies. We are trying to learn how to teach in a very technologically covered and technocratically governed society, and therefore our jobs are going to be difficult over periods of time. So I would like to also emphasize on the fact that on this Teachers' Day, since morning I have received lots of wishes. All of us do receive wishes, and we feel very happy about receiving wishes, isn't it? That's a human tendency, I guess, to receive wishes and feel happy about it. I feel it's a really good thing to receive wishes from our students, our past students and present students, and feel happy and delighted about it. In fact, as humans, we do feel that we have somehow made some amount of contribution, which I do acknowledge that all of us do make in our small ways. But I would also like to ask few critical questions today regarding the current state of affairs in Indian universities and Indian education system. The new Indian education policy has just come. There is a lot of uproar, a lot of criticism coming from all sections of the society, and we are pretty aware of what are the limitations and loopholes in the present current education system, and what this new education policy is envisaged to basically achieve. I'm pretty critical about what this particular new education policy in 2020 can achieve, and probably will deprive a lot of people from. So I would like to emphasize on few things which teachers should basically be talking about. Unfortunately, I do not notice much uproar or much talk or noise about any of the issues. What I notice is some webinars being basically done by some teachers and faculty members at different universities, and that's pretty much it, isn't it? But that's something which will probably not safeguard the education system of India to become better or anyway more efficient. If we as teachers aspire our education system to become better, we have to start from ourselves. Yes, I am saying this on this Teachers' Day very consciously, because I'm aware of the fact that on Teachers' Day, we all of us feel somehow that we are perfect, as if we are sacrosanct entities having no loopholes of our own. And we somehow think that the loopholes lie in somewhere else, in some other people, as if they come from Mars. But that's not the reality. Indian universities are filled with academics who are more politician than academics. They do more politics at a very ground level, in a very sinister way, in a very petty way, and that in fact impacts the whole education system, and that includes students as well and their engagements. I would not blame students in the sense that they are young and immature. They are still growing up. They are still learning about the world. But I guess the onus lies on the teachers to guide them well. But that simply doesn't happen. We are all aware of it. There is a lot of uproar, a lot of oppressed, a lot of strife which happen. Students are being misused for different goals and objectives, political objectives often. I wouldn't mind students being engaged in social protests. They should, because it's their democratic right. They should do that. But the problem happens when teachers and the academic community that we feel so proud of start abusing them, start misusing them for their own political petty objectives, which pretty much happens at all universities in India. Let me assure you this. I have seen this since my student days. I have been in academia for past 1.5 decades, which is at different private universities and public universities, and I have seen it through. My point is, are we assuming ourselves to be perfect? By no means, yes. We don't think we are perfect in any way. What it renders us is a moment, a very momentous moment to think and self-reflect on our own abilities, on our own loopholes, and where do we want to go from here. We can't just simply pretend that we are perfect as teachers. We have to self-reflect on our own values and own ideologies, because at the end of the day, we as teachers are endowed with a deep sense of responsibility, which many of us fail to deliver, and that's something which needs to be acknowledged most sincerely, if not at all anything else. And that is the reason why education system is so polluted, and therefore we do not see much quality work coming from Indian education system. Very recently, just 3 days back, Times Higher Education Rankings 2021 came out. No Indian university has been featured in the top 300. How unfortunate it is. Who is to be held responsible for this? Should we just hold the bureaucratic system and the political system for this? Should we just play the blame game saying that they are not giving us money, funding? I don't think so. I think, and I'm pretty much convinced about it, that we as academics are the only responsible entities for this particular loss. There are only 2 Indian universities which are ranked in top 350. 300 literally. First one is Indian Institute of Science, which is featured in 300 to 350, and Indian Institute of Technology Roped, which is featured in the 300 to 400. Should we not actually feel a bit of shame about it? What have we delivered in return of our salaries, all our entitlements? We claim big things as academics. How have we contributed to Indian education system as researchers? What kind of quality input do we actually put into the education system? Do we spend enough time self-reflecting on these issues? I don't think so. Let me get back to the point of being perfect. Nobody of us is perfect. Let's acknowledge that. Let's start with that honest confession. Many of us have committed several kinds of mistakes, small mistakes, petty mistakes. But at the same time, we teachers somehow like to think in a superior way, as if we are moral entities and just cannot do any mistakes at all. But many times, unconsciously or consciously, we do commit lots of mistakes which can affect the overall system as a whole. We may not be widely conscious about this, but someone has to show the mirror one day. I've seen academics doing all sorts of wrong things that you can imagine. But they're pretty shameless about it. They don't want to acknowledge them. I feel unfortunate about it. I don't want to grieve and rant about it, but this is something which affects. This is something which we need to talk about. I, as an academic, having spent 1.5 decades of my life literally on education system, trying to improve in small little ways, not have done great deal of things, but I have done in my own ways. I would like to say that we as academics need to spend more time on self-reflection as to what we as academics, individuals, or even as part of the system, can do for the system. Many times we don't do that. We see vice chancellors being autocratic, heads of the departments ruling the departments like as if it's their own household. Collusions, corruption, lots of corruption at Indian universities that needs to be unearthed, that needs to be talked about. Because after all, the Indian government, even if the sheer quota of GDP that is spent on education system, higher education system is very low, we know that, but it is by no means is so less that it can't fund the education system. Indian education system is heavily invested, especially the IITs, IIMs and central universities. Even state universities have recently received a lot of funding under different schemes like RUSA and all different kind of schemes. But is that money really well spent? I doubt that. I highly doubt that. Therefore, I would like to ask these questions like, are we self-reflecting on our own actions, on our own thoughts, and how we conduct ourselves? Yes, we are expected to be role models. That's a huge burden, that's a huge responsibility that we have to sincerely carry forward. Because what we are is something what we are actually imparting to our students and to the whole society. So on this Teachers' Day, I would like to request all my teacher fraternity, academic fraternity, to come together and sit down at your own homes and self-reflect on these issues. I'm not blaming any of you. All I am saying is please spend a minute or two on yourself and what you can do about the education system. Thank you. Thank you so much for listening to me. I hope you will have a wonderful evening. Good night. Thank you.